Today on This Old House, we'll learn about surfing on the Jersey Shore before and after Sandy.
We'll see the Bayhead project finally moving forward.
The little challenge we have on this job is we have the bay to the right and the ocean to the left. And we have to contend with the tide coming in and out.
And we'll show you which one of our project houses is first to cross the finish line.
Oh, look at this. It's overwhelming. The power of the water is just amazing, isn't it?
What is this community's future?
It'll be our house just 10 feet off the ground.
Look at that.
We don't want to go through this ever again.
I'm going to rebuild my entire house.
You sound optimistic, but this is not going to be easy. Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to This Old House here in New Jersey, where we are working on 3 houses that were affected by Superstorm Sandy. And in fact, everything in New Jersey was affected by the storm, and that even includes the surfing. And the guy who knows that as well as anybody is New Jersey native and someone who's been surfing these waters in his entire life, Sam Hammer. Sam, nice to meet you.
Kevin, welcome to New Jersey.
Yeah, well, welcome back for me, because I actually grew up down here. And unlike a lot of people, I understand what sort of a surf culture New Jersey has, but no one else seems to.
Yeah, New Jersey has a great surf culture. We have great waves and beautiful beaches, and it takes a lot of dedication and time to be surfing all year round.
You've been surfing these waves your entire life. You surf them all year round? You surf them in the middle of winter?
Yeah, that's normally our best time. Our best season is fall and winter, you know, so the water gets a lot colder. We have tough waves to surf here, so if you could surf here, you could surf anywhere, to be honest with you.
I love to hear that. And so what makes them so tough? What's the difference?
The waves are more challenging. They move faster, they break a little heavier, and, you know, we deal with a lot of different changing conditions, and you have to be able to drop anything and go.
Well, I've never surfed before, but I think I want to surf in the summertime, and I'd love to surf with a pro like you, so what do you say we get in the water?
Let's go. Waves look fun.
All right. So, Sam, once you hear that Sandy is coming towards the East Coast, what's your inclination in terms of surfing?
In terms of surfing, you know, this is something that I've always kind of looked forward to. So we're going to get the best waves of our life on the East Coast, is what I'm thinking. So a buddy of mine, we went down to North Carolina, surfed down there Thursday, Friday, got really good waves. Went up to New York on Sunday.
You are surfing this literally as it comes up the East Coast.
As it comes up, yeah, you're literally following it up the whole coast.
Yeah.
And then we went to New York, and that's when everything kind of sort of changed. Saw the ocean just kind of morph into something we've never seen here. Every set there was just more force and power just coming in, and the waves were phenomenal. It was a good 20, 25 feet, and there were still waves breaking out past those 20 to 25 footers, so we don't really know how big it was. But it just looked like no ocean I've ever seen here. You know, it was angry. It was very angry. You couldn't even get past the shore break if you tried, and if you did, you'd probably drown. The storm really kind of almost reset the beaches, and
So this is the best surfing that the Jersey Shore has seen in a long time?
Yeah, after Sandy, it's one of the best, if not the best winter I've ever seen here.
Well, it looks a little quiet out here today. Perfect for a guy like me who's never been on a board before. Well, you know what? I want to see what you got.
All right.
You're a pro. Show us something.
I'll give it a go.
All right, so will I. Don't expect much.
Here in Bayhead, our house has finally been elevated, and it is the talk of the neighborhood. People are just not used to seeing one house way up in the air next to houses that are at their original elevation. But it's the new reality down here. Now, Jack, you've been the architect on this project from the very beginning.
Yes, I have, Norm, and it's been a great project to work on. We've had some good news. We went from a V zone to an A zone with the revised maps that they offered to us, and allowed us to go to a standard footing and foundation type instead of a deep foundation required there. We did have to have soil borings done to make sure that we were able to support the spread footing, and they came back positive with coarse sand, and we're able to go ahead and do what we need to do to have a spread footing or concrete footings. And the only thing that we have to deal with now is the tidal waters coming in and filling in the holes as they're being dug.
It sounds like a problem.
Oh, it's a big problem. Let's take a look.
Well, Kevin, this is encouraging. We are familiar with pier footings. You dig out for them, you add stone, you form them up with wood, add a little bit of rebar, and then pour the concrete in.
Yes, but before that, we are challenged a little bit with the water. We have the bay to the right and the ocean to the left. And we have to contend with the tide coming in and out, low tide and high tide. To keep the low tide down, we have to use a pump, so we can keep the level of the water below our footing, so we can form it up, stone it, put our rebar in, pour our concrete. Yesterday, we dug all our footings at once, and the tide came up and washed them all out, so we did it a different method today.
You had to dig them all over again.
All over again.
You do have your challenges down here. Now with these poured, can we let the water back in?
Yes, we can. Can we get the pump turned off?
Okay, so how long do you think it's going to take to come back in to its full height?
Depending on the high and the low tide. If it's high tide, it's going to come in quick.
Now, will that water have any effect on the curing of this concrete?
No, it should have no effect on the concrete. We have stone underneath it to allow the water to flow around it, and there's no pressure coming up at this point.
Okay. Well, you still have a few more of these to do. What happens after that?
Well, we're going to complete our footings, like you said. Then we're going to put our 16 by 16 concrete piers all the way up to the bottom of the house. And then we'll connect each footing with a gray beam that gets doweled into the concrete, and then we pour the gray beam to connect the footings.
Wow, so these are really secured in place, and they're going to support our house.
Yes.
Well, you have a lot more work to do, but it sure is nice to see things moving along.
Our house here in Point Pleasant sits right on this lagoon, and when Sandy came, the lagoon came up and flooded this entire neighborhood with several feet of water, and that caused a ton of damage to our house. So for the last several months, the guys have been working hard to make some repairs, and one of the big things that we did was we raised this house up almost 9 feet. And in fact, we didn't just raise the house, we raised all the mechanical equipment. I mean, you can see where that air conditioning compressor is right now above our heads. Another big project is that this house originally had on it vinyl siding, and Carlos and Maria decided that they wanted that off and to replace it with fiber cement clapboards. And you can see right here what they chose. It's fiber cement, but it also has this wood impression on the front, and it's fairly thin. And they like it for several reasons. First of all, it's flood resistant, so it's going to do really good with the water, but it's also fire resistant, and Carlos is really hoping that that's going to give him a break on his homeowner's insurance. You can see that the guys have already started work here on this corner, and in several weeks this whole house is going to be wrapped in fiber cement claps. Now, when you raise a house up 9 feet, the front door goes with it, and so you've got to be able to get to that old front door. So a new staircase out front has been designed and built, and they also took the opportunity to extend this front porch a little bit, which is a really nice look. But they're expecting water to come back, so they want to pick the right materials that can stand up to water. And in this case, for the front stairs and the front porch, they have got a vinyl railing system. They have got some PVC trim board right here. And then for the stair treads, they've got composite decking. Now, on the face of this, the composite decking is finished. But on the side, it is unfinished, so that has to be dressed up a little bit. And here, they chose a picture frame detail. That's this miter right here, and it exposes the finished side and front only, and it's a pretty good look. And we're going to see a lot more of this go down on the back deck. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Kevin, how are you?
All right, so we have you to thank for our decking material. Can you tell me about what Carlos and Maria chose?
Sure, they've chosen a composite material made of wood and plastic,
yeah.
About 50% and 50% of both. And to show you, and give you an idea here, we've got high-density polyethylene, which is ground up here. That's your milk jugs, detergent bottles.
So we're looking at a lot of recycled things.
Oh,
here.
yeah, 95% recycled content in this product.
Milk jugs. What else you got?
You've got low-density polyethylene, which is your shopping bags that you would get from the supermarket.
A lot of those kicking around. Yeah.
And then you have wood fiber. Comes from the furniture industry, pallet industry. So that's a part of the recycle that we make up in our product.
Guys got a little bit of everything in this stuff, okay. But you know, the key thing for us is that it stands up to the weather and the water in this space. How are you going to do with that?
This product, to tell you, Kevin, this will withstand on-the-ground contact, in-the-water contact, and they give a warranty with that to boot. So
you can put this in the water
yes,
with
sir.
a warranty. Pretty impressive. How do you pull that off?
It's called encapsulation. If I was to tell you that wood fiber encapsulated with plastic all around it, that's what this product is made of. It's a proprietary ingredient and a makeup formulation.
So you're talking encapsulation of the fiber itself, not actually just the 6 sides of this board. So when we cut it, I'm looking at little particles that have been encapsulated?
Yes, sir.
Wow. All right. Well, we'd like to hear that. Now, in terms of installation, I see that we've already got a groove pre-milled into this. So we're talking about a hidden fastener system?
Yes.
Show me that.
Yeah, let me give you an idea here. Basically, in this point of application, we've got the clips already staged in position. The gun, which is the device of which is going to drive the nail screw into position. We slide into position, push into position, pull the trigger, and it comes out.
Wait, now hang on a second. You said a nail screw?
Yes.
So which is it, nail or a screw?
It's a hybrid both.
Really?
So if you were to look at that, you'll see that it's not an aggressive pattern that will tear the wood fiber as it enters.
So I'm seeing a spike here to get it in, but I'm also seeing the threads.
Yep.
You can actually back that back out?
Yeah, let me show you.
You do this and you really are going to have a net. Look at that, huh? Okay. All right, well, I guess having a pneumatic really makes things go faster. Let's see you put some of these down here. You got a 3-man process working. I guess having a pneumatic tool really makes the installation go a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the last one, and then you get to the point where you just get the next board coming in, right? A little bit low right here. Nope, a little higher. There you go. All right, that's in right there. And so I'll get some clips set up for you right here. And I guess like any of these clips, they actually offset the boards for you, so you do have that little bit of a spacer.
You get a 1/4 of an inch setback already preset from the clip itself.
You know, I love the pneumatic in terms of speed and everything, but what if you don't have the tool? Have you got to go to a whole different clip system?
No, I'll show you how to do it by hand. We'll just use the same clip. Let me show you how to set this up. First, slide it into position.
Yeah.
Take the hammer there. You're going to take this screw, set the screw in on an angle.
It's a
and
nail
just
screw.
tap it into position.
All right.
Pretty good for a beginner.
I get that a lot.
Now just take the impact gun,
Pretty
drive
cool.
it into position.
And we can just go right down the line, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And so you really just could do this by yourself, by hand. All you have to do is grab the system. Nice. All right. Well, what do you say we get a ton of these things in? We got a whole crew here. Let's see this all go down. We can go back to pneumatic. So now this is 3/4 inch thick material that we're working with?
No, this is actually 1 inch by 5.5 inch actual size.
Okay. And then in terms of the joists underneath here, these are pretty close together.
This is set at 12 inch on center. However, this product can work on 16 on center and meet code requirements and have minimal deflection.
Nice. Okay.
Hey, Kevin, we've got to put this perimeter strip. You see how this is offset here? I've got to make a straight line from the other end to this end, so we're going to have to run a chalk line down here. Let me give you the other end of this. If you'd hold this for me, just pull it out.
You're gonna cut this scrap away?
Yeah.
Okay. Line it up with this existing one?
That
or
existing board, yes.
All right, I'm good there. Good, I'll give mine.
Perfect. All right.
So now we are left with no groove along the side. I don't suspect we've got a hidden fastener that's going to help us here.
No, we're going to use the secretive pinch and pop.
Ooh, I want to see that.
Okay, here's the infamous pinch and pop method. And what I'm doing is I'm basically driving the screw 1/4 inch below the surface. I'm going to pinch the material that's mushroomed up.
Yeah.
Pinch it almost closed with that. It's almost a self-puttying,
Look at that.
done.
Pretty much disappeared. And sealed?
Sealed. Done.
Pinch and pop.
End of story.
Let's do it.
Do the next one. Again, drive the screw 1/4 inch below. Pinch. Turn.
Now let's start moving down here. Look at that. Now, could you technically do the entire deck with a pinch and pop?
Yes. Do the whole deck this way.
Space nail everything. Probably a little cheaper.
Good. That's good.
All right. give us one last pinch and pop.
Real good, Kevin.
And then we'll have a look at our handiwork. And wow, Brian, looks really good. And so tell me about maintenance.
Kevin, low to no maintenance involved here. All you got to do is pressure wash it, clean it once a year.
Terrific.
Get on with life.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Nice
Kevin,
job.
thank you.
A beautiful looking deck with the icing on the cake being a railing system over here. Now, this is all composite, so it's going to hold up to the weather. And out front, we actually had a baluster system, but right here, well, check this out. This is a solid plexiglass panel that you're going to be able to see right through. And then it's going to be dressed up on top with more of the decking. Nice wide board that's going to be, well, I guess you'd call this a little cocktail rest. Nice little system.
Here in Manasquan, we had a house that was so damaged by Sandy that it couldn't be saved. And 4 months ago, we brought the heavy equipment in and took the old house down. During that same period, we had a new house built, but not here. It was built off-site as a prefabricated modular house at a factory in Pennsylvania. Well, 2 months ago, we had it delivered, and we had it put onto brand new pilings, timber pilings, and that was really quite a day. Well, Anthony, you have won the race between our 3 projects. You're finished first. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
It really looks great.
Yep, we have a couple inspections left, and Rita will be moving in the new home.
All right, so you got lattice work everywhere, covering up all those pilings. You've made them disappear.
Yep, well, in the front we used lattice, and on the sides we framed it in, and we used a cement board. Being that we're still in a flood zone prone area, we put smart vents in down here in case you have some rising water to let it in and out. Yep, lets it in and out.
Well, it looks like stucco.
And then, yep, down here it's a textured finish cement board. It's 3/8 inch.
Pretty cool.
And it's attached to a treated lumber framing system.
So I see 2x4 right here, pressure treated. If the water got in here, it would actually knock that panel right out.
Yep, they're fastened minimally, so if we do get water pressure against it, it'll knock it out, and it'll save the house, and the pilings remain in the home.
It makes that piling disappear, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, so you need a little grass seed back here.
Yep, we do. We're getting that finished.
Oh, good. You got your air conditioner up and away, new deck.
Yep, well, now there's new regulations with the decks and the AC platforms. We literally have to anchor them to the home so that they don't float away in the storm. These were actually projectiles coming off of homes and hitting other...
So you literally are anchoring these so they won't go somewhere else?
Yes.
All right, I got to see inside though, Anthony.
All right, come on in.
Furniture cannot be far behind, Anthony. Looks great.
We're almost there.
Now, I remember seeing the kitchen cabinets at the factory getting installed.
Yeah, the cabinets were installed at the factory along with the crown molding. What we brought in on site was the countertops.
Yeah, I remember them getting shipped separately so they wouldn't get damaged.
Exactly. We connected the plumbing.
Oh, good.
And we installed the appliances.
Great. So, excellent. You got lighting going.
Yep.
Look at this. She's going to just love this place, I tell you.
She's going to be in here shortly.
So, dining room right here. Now, remember, this came as 2 separate boxes, and this was the place where the 2 boxes met. No seam.
Put the sheetrock up and made it disappear.
Nicely done.
Thanks.
Now, fireplace was done at the factory, but I see a new floor here.
Yeah, the floors we put down on site. We're using a golden teak. It's a pre-finished hardwood floor, tongue and groove. The finish is done at the factory. We installed these over the manufacturer's specified underlayment, and they're nailed down every 6 to 8 inches. And we cut it approximately 1/4 inch shy around the whole perimeter. Because of the moisture in the area, you want to have room for expansion and contraction. And then what we did is we put shoe molding in to cover that up and have a nice finished look.
And that's really important with all this humidity right near the ocean for expansion and contraction.
Absolutely.
Now the thing about this pre-finished floor is it comes out of the box looking like this, and that's really good for time saving, right?
It is for time, but also the finish on this floor that's finished in the factory cannot be recreated in the field, and it's much more durable, especially up near the beaches and sand.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I tell you, if you can pull off this house in 2 months, your business must be booming.
Yes, it is. In fact, in Manasquan alone, we have 7 on the books, 1 being right across the street.
Really? So are people really starting to catch on to prefabricated modular houses?
Yeah, they are. And since the new building codes have come into effect and the permits are being issued, we're on schedule to do 50 homes this year.
50 homes? That's 1 a week?
Yep.
That's something. I mean, with this area with hundreds of thousands of homes, you're really doing your part to actually put Jersey back on its feet. Or on pilings.
We are.
Good job, brother.
Thank you.
So Chris, earlier we started the show on the Atlantic Ocean, but for the Jersey Shore, a big part of the story has to be this bay.
Yeah, Kevin, the bay is absolutely critical. There are actually more people that live on the bay than on the ocean front, not to mention all the wildlife. Right. So let's go check it out.
Let's have a look.
So Kevin, this is the Barnegat Bay. It's an estuary, which basically means that this is where the salt water and the fresh water meet.
Yeah.
It's a critically important habitat because most of our species of the wildlife in our area at least spend a small amount of time in these waters. There's less wave action, there's less predators, and there's lots of places to hide. So it almost acts like a nursery. So it's critical to protect this habitat because this is where it all begins. It's almost like a shock absorber for these large storm events. As the water comes in with the storm surge, it's allowed to sort of percolate through the entire area, and it's a dynamic system. Sands are shifting, mud is allowed to move around, the salt marshes absorb that wave energy, and it just allows that energy to dissipate throughout the whole system as opposed to butting up against something hard.
So it's as if the bay is sort of constantly changing.
Absolutely.
So the bay is dynamic, it's fragile, and that begs the question, should we be living here at all?
Well, in a perfect world, we probably shouldn't be. However, that ship has already sailed. So at this point, the question isn't if, it's how we live with the shoreline. Responsible shoreline development does not allow bulkheads to be placed on the side of the bay.
So this structure right here with the pylons and the wood, this is a hard edge.
That's correct. This acts almost like a seawall.
Yeah.
When the waves hit it, they reflect back, and it doesn't allow that wave energy to be dissipated the way it's supposed to.
So are you saying we don't have to build those kind of bulkheads to live on the bay?
Absolutely not. This is a perfect example of the way that it should be done. It allows the shoreline to act like it's supposed to and be in its more natural state. As the waves come in, they're allowed to break on the beach, and periodically you lose a little bit of yard every once in a while, but in the long run you have a nice little sandy beach in front of your house.
Yeah, but aren't all these houses going to flood?
In a sandy event, everything flooded, whether you had a bulkhead in front of your house or you had a beach. But if you allow the shoreline to go back to its natural state, it makes those flooding events much less severe in the long run, so it's more healthy for everyone.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. That's what we're looking for, some post-Sandy solutions. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So until next time, here on beautiful Barnegat Bay, I'm Kevin O'Connor for This Old House. Next time on This Old House.
I've issued mandatory evacuation for the barrier islands.
1 year after Superstorm Sandy, we'll take stock of the recovery here on the Jersey Shore.
And we'll show you an amazing story about one house's survival.
The next day we looked and all of our neighbors are gone. It was devastating to everyone.
And we'll show you how all 3 of our project houses turned out. That's next time on This Old House.